In my first life, I saved the hand of the woman my husband had grown up with. Then she used that very hand to film a video that put my medical license, my marriage, and my entire life on trial. Welcome to Revenge Cookies. Imagine losing your career, your marriage, and your life. All because your husband's childhood bestie weaponized her crocodile tears for internet clout. But what happens when you wake up and get a second chance? Pour yourself a drink, darling. The operation is about to begin. The video was only 97 seconds long. Megan Hayes sat in a hospital bed with her wrist, her eyes red. In my first life, I saved the hand of the woman my husband had grown up with. Then she used that very hand to film a video that put my medical license, my marriage, and my entire life on trial. The video was only 97 seconds long. Megan Hayes sat in a hospital bed with her wrist, her eyes red, her voice so soft it sounded as if she were afraid of disturbing someone. I know Dr. Collins doesn't like me, and I understand. Ryan and I have known each other since we were kids. But I'm just a patient. I honestly don't know what I did wrong. She never accused me of hurting her on purpose. She only used 3 carefully edited clips. Me examining her wrist without smiling, me asking a nurse to adjust her pain medication, and me telling her not to move the injured hand, add somber music and a few captions. And suddenly, I was the jealous wife who had neglected a patient because she happened to be my husband's childhood friend. The next day, strangers dug up my name, my hospital, and my entire training history. By the 3rd day, the hospital pulled me from clinical duty, pending an internal review. On the 5th day, my father called. His first question wasn't whether I had been falsely accused. Why is your name all over the internet? Ryan sat across from me, phone clenched in one hand. I asked him, "Do you believe me?" He stared at the glass on the table for a long time without looking up. Megan wouldn't say all that for no reason. And somehow, I still tried to explain. I explained until my throat hurt. I explained while people held up phones in hospital hallways to film me. I explained until I was afraid to put on my own white coat. No one listened. Then, the marriage fell apart. My career disappeared with it. I moved into a cheap apartment on the edge of the city. One winter night, the old heating system failed. I went to sleep and never woke up. When I opened my eyes again, sunlight was stabbing through my eyelids. I bolted upright, breathing hard. My bedroom, the nightstand, Ryan's tie, tossed there the night before. My phone screen was glowing. Friday the 14th of July. I stared at the date for 10 full seconds. Tomorrow afternoon, Megan would fall on a trail outside the city and badly injure her wrist. Ryan would rush her to the hospital where I worked. He would call me from the ER entrance and say, "Maya, she's scared of doctors she doesn't know. Come down here." Last time, I went. This time, I threw off the covers and got out of bed. Beside the coffee maker was a note. Ryan had scribbled for me. "Don't wait up. Big deadline tonight." I flipped the note over, picked up my phone, and called my department chief. "Dr. Foster, I'm running a fever today. I'd like to take tomorrow off too. I'll submit the leave request through the system." He paused. "You're only scheduled for a half day tomorrow. I know. I don't want to see patients while I'm symptomatic." "All right. Put it in the system. Get checked out if you need to. Thank you." After I hung up, I stood in the middle of the kitchen. The refrigerator was stocked almost entirely with Ryan's favorites: plain Greek yogurt, low-fat milk, the same cereal he bought every week, and a carton of strawberries I had brought home yesterday, but hadn't let myself open yet. I took out the strawberries and washed the entire carton. The first one was so tart it made me wince. The second was sweet. I sat at the table and ate every last one. My phone buzzed. "Ryan, what do you want for dinner?" I looked at the message and didn't reply. He didn't get home until after 9. When the key turned in the lock, I was curled up on the couch, watching a movie. "Maya." He came in, changed his shoes, and frowned when he saw the takeout container on the coffee table. "You didn't cook." "I have a fever," I called out. He reached for my forehead. My body pulled back before I could think about it. His hand stopped in midair. "Is it bad?" "Bad enough that I'm taking 2 days off." "Did you take anything?" "Yes." He nodded and went to the kitchen for water. He didn't ask anything else. I watched his back, and suddenly those strawberries sat sour in my stomach. In my first life, I had told him I was sick that day too. The next afternoon, the moment Megan got hurt, he forgot all about it. I turned off the television and headed for the bedroom. Ryan leaned out from the kitchen. Want me to bring you something in the morning? Aren't you buried in that project? I can make something before work. I looked at him for 2 seconds. Then make me some oatmeal. He seemed surprised that I had actually taken him up on the offer. Okay. The next morning, he burned it. A black ring coated the bottom of the pot. Ryan scraped the part that was still edible into a bowl and pushed it toward me. First time making it, so it might be a little. I took a spoonful. Too salty. I looked up. He seemed oddly nervous. Well, terrible. The corner of his mouth twitched. I took another bite, but edible. He looked down and laughed. Even the tips of his ears turned red. My fingers tightened around the spoon. The old me would have been happy all day over one badly burned bowl of oatmeal. At 10, Ryan left for work. At 3:17 that afternoon, my phone rang. His name lit up the screen. Ignored it. A second call. Then, a third. 5 minutes later, a message appeared. Megan fell. Her wrist might be broken. I'm taking her to your hospital now. Get ready. I stared at the words, get ready. Then my phone rang again. This time it was Natalie, one of the nurses on my service. Maya, are you home? Yes. She lowered her voice. Ryan just brought a woman into the ER. He told everyone you were coming down to take her case. He said you already agreed. The spoon in my hand hit the rim of the bowl. He said what? That you'd take care of her. I stood up. I never agreed to anything. There was a beat of silence. Natalie said, do you want to call the charge nurse? I'm doing it now. The moment we hung up, Ryan called again. I answered. His voice was tight and impatient. Maya, finally, Megan's in a lot of pain. When are you getting here? I walked to the window. Someone downstairs was jogging across the grass with a dog. I'm not. What? I'm on sick leave. Maya, her wrist is visibly deformed. Then she should be evaluated by the ER team and the orthopedic physician on call. She doesn't know them. This is a hospital, Ryan. Patients don't need to know their doctors personally. His breathing changed. I already told them you were coming. I laughed once. Not because it was funny, because I genuinely couldn't believe him. Then go back and tell them you lied. Maya, you do not get to accept patients on my behalf. Silence. I pulled the curtain open a little farther. Sunlight fell across the back of my hand. Let her follow the hospital's normal process. Don't wait for me. Megan says you're the only one she trusts. Then today she can learn to trust someone else. I hung up. 30 seconds later, Natalie texted me. His face went white. Before I could answer, another message came through. Wait. Megan just refused the on-call doctor's recommended treatment. She says she's waiting for you. I stared at the screen and typed back. Don't talk her into anything. Natalie replied instantly. I wouldn't dare. Ryan is already arguing with the on-call physician. Right on cue, Ryan called again. Maya, the on-call doctor says, it's not a simple injury. He doesn't want to try a reduction right now. Just come look at her. I slid my lunch plate into the dishwasher. I already said no. She's been crying from the pain. Then follow the doctor's recommendations. She wants to wait for you. That's her decision. His breathing turned heavy. Maya, you were never like this before. My hand stopped on the faucet. Before, I still never gave you permission to take patients for me. I ended the call. At 4, Natalie texted. Megan is still waiting. At 5, Ryan tried to get the nurses to keep calling you. The charge nurse shut that down. At 6, Natalie suddenly sent a string of exclamation points. Your husband just followed a retired orthopedic professor. Halfway down the hall, I was slicing strawberries. The knife stopped in my hand. I texted back, followed him. Natalie called immediately. Dr. Harris only came back for a conference today. Ryan cornered him and begged him to look at Megan. The man is retired, and Ryan was still following him, saying, please, just take one look. I burst out laughing. Natalie laughed too. You're being a little cruel, aren't you? I didn't tell him to chase anyone. Fair. So what happened? Dr. Harris looked at the imaging, but he didn't take over the case. He told them waiting for you was pointless. Megan finally agreed to let the on-call team treat her. I tipped the sliced strawberries into a bowl. And she waited so long that the swelling got noticeably worse. The doctor said they'll have to see how she heals. No one can promise she'll get exactly the function she wants back. I said nothing. You okay? Natalie asked. Great. You sound great. I'm making a pie. There was a 2-second silence. The hospital is chaos and you're at home making pie? I'm on sick leave, not disaster response. Natalie laughed so hard she started coughing. The oven chimed just as Ryan came home. His shirt was wrinkled beyond saving, and his eyes were bloodshot. He saw the berry pie on the table. You actually had the energy to bake. I cut myself a slice. Why wouldn't I? Megan was in pain all afternoon. Did the hospital treat her? Yes. Then good. Ryan stared at me. You're not worried at all. My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. Ryan, did you tell the hospital today that I had already agreed to take her case? His expression froze. I thought you'd come eventually, so you committed me without asking. I was just trying to calm her down. I set down my fork. You used my professional word to reassure another woman. Ryan rubbed his forehead. Maya, I know that was wrong. That's all you have to say. I looked up at him. I told you yesterday that I was sick. I know. What was my temperature? He said nothing. I waited 3 seconds. Ryan. I don't remember, I nodded. But you remember exactly how swollen Megan's wrist was. Maya, don't make those two things the same. I smiled faintly. You're the one who made them the same. He stood there for a long time without moving. Eventually he asked, Do you want anything else tonight? His phone lit up. Megan. Ryan, my hand still hurt so much. He reached for the phone. I glanced at the strawberries on the coffee table and changed my mind. Actually, wait. He looked back. I want pancakes. Now. Strawberry pancakes. The clock on the wall read 10:22. Ryan looked at me for a moment. I don't know how, but forget it. He turned his phone face down on the table. I'll look it up. 20 minutes later, something crashed in the kitchen. Maya, how thick is pancake batter supposed to be? I buried my face in a throw pillow, laughing so hard my shoulders shook. The pancakes came out uneven, some thick, some thin, with singed edges. Ryan sat across from me and watched me take the first bite. Well, better than the oatmeal. He had just started to relax when his phone lit up again. Megan. This time he didn't touch it. I looked down and cut into the second pancake. Then Ryan said, She wants to transfer hospitals tomorrow. Why? She thinks the doctors today were biased against her. Why would she think that? Ryan stared at the table. Because everyone knows about her relationship with me. I stopped moving my knife and fork. How many people did you tell? Maybe the whole orthopedic department. My phone buzzed at the same time. Natalie had sent a screenshot. Megan just posted again. In the photo, Megan's wrist was immobilized, and she looked pale. The caption was only 3 lines. Some injuries are harder than you ever expect. Thank you to the one person who stayed with me from beginning to end. As for the person who could have helped me, I respect her choice. The first comment already asked, Who refused to help you? Megan never answered. She only liked the comment. Overnight, her post drew hundreds of comments. By noon the next day, a local gossip account had reposted it with a headline designed to start a fire. Woman injures wrist. Friend's wife is an orthopedic doctor, but refuses to show up. People quickly identified the hospital. Then someone found Ryan's social media. An old party photo surfaced. Megan stood beside him with one hand resting on his shoulder. The comments changed direction almost immediately. Wait, friend's wife. So the man who stayed with her all night is the doctor's husband. This doesn't sound like medical drama anymore. This sounds like marriage drama. I was reading the comments with far too much interest when Natalie texted me. Whatever you do, don't get mad when you go online, I replied. I'm not mad. Natalie, are you reading the comments right now? Me. Number Natalie. You literally just sent me a screenshot of one. I looked down at the comment I had accidentally forwarded to her. Slip of the thumb. Natalie sent back a laughing emoji. That evening, Linda insisted that Ryan and I come over for dinner. Mom just wants everyone to sit down and talk, Ryan said. I was putting on my shoes. Who is everyone? He paused. Megan will be there too. I looked up, Ryan hurried to add. She's transferring to another hospital tomorrow. Mom thought we could all have dinner tonight and stop this from getting uglier. Oh, I settled my heel into my shoe. Let's go. Ryan clearly hadn't expected me to agree that easily. He stared at me for 2 seconds. Linda's dining table was long enough to seat a small board meeting. Megan had taken the chair closest to Ryan. Her left wrist was braced, and she wore almost no makeup. The moment I walked in, she stood. Maya, sit down. She bit her lip. I hope you didn't misunderstand my post. I really wasn't trying to make anyone attack you. I pulled out my chair. I haven't said the post was about me. Her expression stalled for half a second. Linda came out carrying a salad bowl. All right, we're all adults here. Let's not make this bigger than it already is. I picked up my water, Megan said softly. Linda, I don't blame Maya. She wasn't feeling well that day either. You always think about everyone else, Linda said with a sigh. Then she turned to me. But Maya, you are a doctor. Megan was in that much pain. Would it really have hurt you to stop by for a few minutes? Mom, Ryan said quietly. I put my glass down. Linda, she looked at me. Did Ryan tell you I had a fever that night? Yes. Did he tell you how high it was? She hesitated. I turned to Ryan. His fork froze over his plate. No one answered. I continued. Did he tell you I had formally called out sick? Linda's face changed. Did he tell you he never asked about my condition, but still told the hospital I had agreed to take Megan's case? Megan jumped in. That was because I was scared. I never asked Ryan to make decisions for you. I looked at her. But you heard him tell them I was coming, didn't you? Her lips parted. Everything was chaotic. So you knew I hadn't agreed. She said nothing. Linda slowly set the salad tongs back in the bowl. I cut a piece of roast chicken. One more thing. Ryan looked up. What time did Ryan leave the hospital that night? Megan's face went pale. A little after 6 in the morning, Ryan answered for her. Linda's head snapped toward her son. You stayed there all night. Ryan frowned. She was alone. I finished chewing and took a sip of water. So was I. The table went completely silent. Linda looked from me to Ryan. Maya was sick, and you didn't go home all night. Mom, don't do this. What am I doing? You told me she just had a fever. I assumed you had at least checked that your wife was okay. Megan's eyes filled with tears. This is all because of me. I didn't respond. She sniffed. If I hadn't gotten hurt, you two wouldn't be fighting. No one is blaming you, Linda said immediately. Megan lowered her head. I watched her lashes drop. It was always like this. She placed herself in the guilty seat first, and everyone else rushed to prove she was innocent. I put down my knife and fork. Megan. She looked up. Getting hurt wasn't your fault. She blinked. But what you post online is your choice. Ryan looked at me. A tear finally slid down Megan's cheek. I was only talking about how I felt. Then keep talking about how you feel. I picked up my purse. Just stop pretending people can't tell who you're talking about. I stood. Linda rose too. Maya, you're leaving. I'm full. Ryan followed me to the door. Maya, I clicked my car key. Stay here tonight. We can go home together. Your mother still has things she wants to say to you. He glanced back toward the living room. Linda was staring at him. I opened the car door. Maya, I'll make Megan delete the post. Ryan stopped. I got into the car. If she wants to say it, let her say it. My phone buzzed almost the entire drive home. The gossip account had posted an update. Update: doctor involved was on approved medical leave that night and never treated the injured woman. The top comment was only one sentence. So who exactly abandoned her? I had barely finished reading it when a new video from Megan appeared. This title was much more direct. I was abandoned by a doctor who could have helped me. Within 2 hours, the video had spread far beyond our local circle. Megan sat in her bedroom with her wrist braced and her voice carefully controlled. I don't want to name anyone. I only want to say that sometimes you think people you know will help when you need them most, and then reality turns out differently. She paused. Because my treatment was delayed, my recovery may be affected. I make videos for a living, so I'm honestly terrified. Then she added one final line. Please, don't attack anyone. That sentence poured gasoline on the fire. People started digging into my life again. The hospital switchboard was flooded with calls. The next morning, Dr. Foster called me. Maya, administration has received a large number of complaints. I know. Don't come back to work yet. My fingers tightened around my mug. Am I being suspended? Number paid administrative leave. The hospital needs time to deal with the publicity, and we also need to protect you and our patients. I stared out the window. In my first life, it had started the same way. Just take a few days off. My fingertips slowly went cold. Dr. Foster continued. One more thing. Do not release Megan's imaging chart or any identifiable medical information. Even if you're defending yourself, you still have to follow HIPAA and hospital policy. I understand. The hospital will verify whether you had any role in her treatment. Give us some time. After the call ended, I sat there for a long time. Megan's view count kept climbing on my phone. In my first life, I had lost because no one was willing to hear me. This time, I had evidence. But I could not use a patient's private medical information as a weapon. I pushed my coffee away and called attorney, Emily Shaw. After I explained the situation, she asked only a few questions. Did you ever formally accept Megan as your patient? Number, were you on duty when she arrived? Number, is there an order, signature, consult note, or any other chart entry from you? Number, then that's enough. I frowned, but I can't release her records. You don't need to prove every single thing she said was false, Emily said evenly. You only need to establish the most important fact. She was never your patient. My fingers went still on the table. Half an hour later, I had written a very short public statement. No diagnosis details. No imaging. No insults. Only a timeline. I had submitted my sick leave before the incident. I was not at the hospital when she arrived. I never accepted her as a patient. I did not participate in her diagnosis, treatment, or medical decision-making. I ended with one sentence. I cannot abandon a patient who was never under my care. Emily read it and changed 2 words. Post it. For 20 minutes. Nothing happened. Megan had well over 100,000 followers. I had an almost unused professional account. Then Ryan texted me. Do you really have to take this online? The moment I read it, anger flared through me. I called him. He answered almost immediately. Maya, who took it online first? Ryan went quiet. I just think everyone is already watching. The more people explain, the messier it gets. So I should stay silent. That's not what I said. Ryan, the hospital put me on administrative leave today. His breathing stopped for a second. What? Because of Megan's video. I didn't know it would get this serious. Now you do. I ended the call. 10 minutes later, Ryan was at the front door. He must have driven there in a hurry. His tie was crooked. Maya, I'm going to talk to Megan. Go ahead. I'll make her clarify what happened. Not for me. Ryan stopped. I turned my laptop toward him. I already posted a statement. The hospital is investigating. I don't need you to go beg her to say something nice about me. His face tightened. Then what do you want me to do? I looked at him. For once, don't decide anything for me. Ryan sat on the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. He didn't leave. An hour later, notifications started exploding across my professional account. A podcast host who specialized in medical law had reposted my statement. He didn't take my side outright. He asked one question. If a physician is off duty, never accepts the patient, and never establishes a physician-patient relationship, can this reasonably be called patient abandonment? For the first time, people who actually understood medicine entered the conversation. Number, not based on what she has publicly described. Why did the patient insist on waiting for her friend's wife instead of accepting the on-call team? Then the hospital released an official statement. The wording was restrained. It confirmed that I had been on approved medical leave at the time of the incident. It confirmed that I had not participated in Megan Hayes' care. It declined to release any other patient information. I read it twice. Ryan was standing behind me. Does this mean it's over? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Unknown number. Dr. Collins. Yes. This is Dr. Nathan Reed. We met once at an orthopedic conference. Professor Lawson gave me your number. I sat up straighter without meaning to. Nathan didn't ask about Megan. He didn't ask about the internet. He said, "We have an opening in adult reconstruction. Lawson has been recommending you for a long time. Would you be available for a video interview?" I blinked. "Now." He laughed softly. "Not this second. You sound like you just came out of a war zone." I laughed too. "Close enough. How about Thursday? That works." When I hung up, Ryan was watching me. "Who was that?" "Work." "What kind of work?" The doorbell rang before I could answer. Ryan opened the door. Megan was standing there. She wasn't crying. She held up her phone in front of me. The screen was full of comments that had turned against her. "Maya." Her voice was tight. "Were you waiting for this the whole time?" Megan stood in the hallway without the soft, wounded expression she usually wore. She pushed the phone toward me another inch. "My sponsorships are on hold. People are calling me a liar in my own comments." I didn't take the phone. "Did you come here because you expect me to fix your comment section?" "Maya, you know, that's not what I mean." "Then what do you mean?" She glanced at Ryan. "I was terrified that night. My hand was swollen. Doctors kept asking questions, and nobody could promise me it would be fine. I just wanted you there. So you made a video. Because you could have helped me." I rested one hand on the doorframe. "And I could also choose not to." Her face tightened. "You weren't like this before." You and Ryan seem very attached to that sentence lately. "Megan, enough," Ryan said quietly. She whipped around to face him. "Now you're telling me enough." Ryan frowned. "Maya was put on leave because of your public videos." "What about me?" Megan lifted her braced hand. "My recovery may actually be affected. Everyone is saying I lied, but I really was in pain all night." I looked at her. "Yes." She froze. "You were in pain. That was real. You were scared. That was real too." I pointed toward her phone. "Which means you never needed to invent a doctor who abandoned you." Her lips went pale. I continued. "You could have said you were injured. You could have said you were frightened. You could even have said you wanted me there. But instead, you made it sound as if I had accepted you as my patient, and then deliberately refused to show up. Maya, I never said your name. You said Ryan was your childhood friend. You said his wife was an orthopedic surgeon. You filmed at my hospital." She said nothing. "You didn't leave anything to the imagination." The hallway stayed quiet for several seconds. Then Megan said softly, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" I looked at her. "I'm enjoying not having to explain why I'm not obligated to clean up your mess." Her eyes instantly filled. Ryan stepped forward. "Go home." She stared at him as if she no longer recognized him. "You think this is all my fault too?" Ryan didn't answer immediately. Those few seconds were enough. Megan gave a small, bitter laugh. "Fine." She turned and walked away. The elevator doors closed without her looking back. The next day, Emily called to tell me that Megan's attorney had contacted her. They were willing to discuss a public correction. Not because Megan had suddenly discovered a conscience. Her follower count had dropped hard. Several sponsorships were paused, and local media had started asking whether her claim of being abandoned had any actual legal or medical basis. I had 3 requirements. She had to state that I was not her treating physician. She had to state that I was on approved leave at the time. And she had to state that the delay in her treatment was not caused by me accepting her as a patient and then refusing to treat her. Emily asked, "Do you want an apology?" "Yes." "Does she have to actually say the word sorry?" "Yes." At 4 that afternoon, Megan uploaded another video. No music. No filter. She sat in front of the camera with swollen eyes. "I need to correct several statements from my previous video." She paused for a long time. Dr. Maya Collins was not my treating physician. At the time of the incident, she was on approved leave and did not participate in my care. Her fingers twisted in the hem of her shirt. I previously used the word abandoned. That word was inaccurate. The delay in my treatment did not occur because Dr. Collins accepted my case and then refused to treat me. She swallowed. My wording caused professional and personal harm to her. "I'm sorry." The last sentence was quiet, but it was enough. I watched the video to the end, then closed it. Natalie's message arrived immediately. "I hereby declare this the happiest day in orthopedic history." I replied, "Go do your job." "Natalie, you're not even enjoying this." I looked at the donut on the table and took a bite. Then I typed. A little. Natalie sent 5 laughing emojis. Ryan came home late that night. I had just finished my video interview with Nathan's hospital. It had been easier than I expected. No one asked about my marriage. No one asked about Megan. They asked about my surgical volume, complex cases, and why I was considering a new environment. At the end, Nathan said, "Lawson told me you have very steady hands under pressure. Today I understood why he keeps recommending you." When I closed my laptop, I was still smiling. Ryan came through the door and noticed. "What happened? You look happy. Work." He stood in the entryway as if he wanted to ask more, then didn't. After dinner, he lingered. I was putting away the glasses when he finally spoke. "Megan had a follow-up today." I kept moving. "It's not looking great." The doctor said. "She may have ongoing stiffness and pain." I put the glass in the cabinet. "So," Ryan curled his fingers around the edge of the counter. "Could you just look at her imaging?" The cabinet door closed softly in front of me. I turned around. Ryan rushed on. "I'm not asking you to take over. I'm not asking you to do anything. Just look at it and tell us whether there's another option." I stared at him. The refrigerator hummed quietly behind us. "Ryan, I know it's too much to ask. Then why are you asking?" His face lost some color. "Megan depends on her hands for work." I laughed, not sarcastically. I genuinely couldn't help it. "Maya," he said quietly, "do you know what I almost lost this week?" "I do." "No, you don't." I walked into the bedroom. Ryan followed me to the doorway. I opened the bottom drawer of the closet and pulled out a folder. Then I carried it back into the living room and placed it in front of him. Ryan glanced down. He didn't touch it. "What is this?" "Open it." He flipped to the first page. The color slowly drained from his face. It was a completed divorce petition. Ryan looked up. "Maya." I sat across from him. His voice sounded caught somewhere in his throat. "You want a divorce?" He stared at the papers for a long time without turning the page. "Because I asked about Megan just now." "Number, because of the videos." "Number." He looked up again, eyes red from too many sleepless nights. I nudged the folder toward him. "Do you remember the night I made you cook pancakes?" Ryan clearly had no idea where I was going with this. "Yes. They were awful." The corner of his mouth moved, then fell again. "I know, but I ate every one." Ryan watched me. I slowly traced one finger around the rim of my glass. "That night, I got up for water and found you asleep on the couch. Your phone was on your chest. You hadn't even taken off your glasses." His throat moved. "I covered you with a blanket, Maya. So this isn't because you were never good to me." His eyes reddened further. "Then why?" I looked at him. "Because every time I needed you to actually choose, you tried to keep both sides." He opened his mouth, but I kept going. "Megan cries, you go comfort her. I get upset, you come home and comfort me. Your mother sides with her, and you ask me to be understanding. The hospital won't give her special treatment, so you use my name to make promises." Ryan's fingers crumpled the edge of the papers. "I can change. You've said that before. This time is different. How?" He had no answer. Only the soft hum of the air conditioner filled the room. After a while, Ryan said quietly, "We can go to marriage counseling. I'll cut off unnecessary contact with Megan, and I'll tell my mom to stop pulling her into our marriage." I looked at the crease. His thumbnail had pressed into the paper. "You can do all of that." A little hope appeared in his eyes. "But don't do it to keep me." The hope faded just as slowly. Ryan lowered his head. "Did you decide this a long time ago?" I didn't answer. My phone chimed. An email notification. I glanced down. Nathan's teaching hospital had sent me a formal offer. The position, start date, and relocation package were all there. Ryan noticed my expression. "What is it?" I turned the phone face down. "A job offer." "Where?" "Out of state." His head snapped up. "When did you interview?" "Yesterday." "Yesterday?" "Yes." "Maya, you didn't even tell me." I looked at him for 2 seconds. "You never asked whether I wanted to change jobs." Ryan stood and paced across the living room twice. "So you've already planned everything." Number I stood too. I sent in my CV. I took an interview. They offered me the job. What about me? The words came out too fast, his voice cracking on the last one. I didn't answer. Ryan stared at me as if he had finally heard himself. What about me? For 3 years, I had asked that question silently more times than I could count. Megan needs you. What about me? Your mother wants me to give in. What about me? You're tired from work. What about me? This time, I didn't ask. I went into the bedroom and pulled out the suitcase I had already packed halfway. Ryan followed me. When did you start packing? This afternoon. He crouched and pressed one hand down on the lid. Maya, don't do this. I looked up. Take your hand off. His hand stayed there for several seconds before slowly lifting away. I pulled the zipper all the way around. The next day, Ryan didn't go to work. He sat in the living room with the divorce papers centered on the coffee table. When I came out of the bedroom, dark circles shadowed his eyes. Maya, I stopped. I called Megan last night. I said nothing. I told her that unless it's a genuine emergency, she shouldn't contact me anymore. She cried for a long time. Ryan gave a faint, humorless smile. Whenever she cried before, I always felt like I had to do something. Last night was the first time I did nothing. I held the handle of my suitcase. Good. Is it too late? I didn't answer that either. Ryan stood. I love you. My fingers tightened slightly. He noticed. He took one step toward me. Maya, I know everything I say now sounds like I'm begging you to stay. But I do love you, I know. He froze. I draped my coat over my arm. That's what makes it sadder. His eyes filled. I walked past him. At the door, he suddenly grabbed the handle of my suitcase. Not my hand, just the suitcase. Maya, give me 3 months. I turned back. Ryan. His hand slowly loosened. I opened the door. The hallway lights came on. I didn't hear footsteps following me. 3 weeks later, I landed in a new city. The temporary apartment arranged by the hospital was about 15 minutes from the medical center. On my first day, I put on a new white coat and straightened the collar in the locker room mirror. The badge showed only my name, Maya Collins, Maryland. Not someone's wife, not someone's wifeful, not that doctor from the internet. In the conference room, Nathan slid a stack of orientation materials toward me. Welcome aboard. Thank you. He glanced at my coffee. You drink it that bitter. I didn't used to. What changed? I lifted the cup and took a sip. Turns out I like it. Nathan nodded without asking anything else. Good. That afternoon, I joined the team on rounds. My phone buzzed once in my pocket. I didn't look at it until the end of the day. Ryan had sent a photo. The signed divorce papers. One line underneath. I signed it. I stood at the hospital entrance. It had just rained, and the glass doors reflected people moving through the lobby behind me. I replied, received. Take care. Sent. Then I deleted his contact. It took less time than I expected. That night, I went alone to a small restaurant near my apartment. The server asked, just one? Yes. Window seat. Okay. Perfect. There was a berry pie on the dessert menu. I stared at it for 2 seconds, then ordered a slice. When it arrived, the crust was baked exactly right. I cut off a bite. Sweet and tart in perfect balance. My phone lit up. Natalie. How's the new hospital? Any cute doctors? I laughed out loud. I typed back. The hospital is great. Tell me, darlings, have you ever noticed how the women who play the most fragile, helpless victims usually have the absolute steadiest hands when holding a knife? That was our sweet, delicate Megan. She weaponized her incompetence and dressed her manipulation up as anxiety. Let's be brutally honest. She didn't even want Ryan as a man. She just wanted the ego boost of knowing she could snap her fingers and make another woman's husband come running. And then there's Ryan. Oh, Ryan. A man so desperately addicted to playing the hero for everyone else that he ended up being a loyal partner to absolutely no one. He loved Maya's independence because it required 0 effort, but he fed off Megan's dependence because it made his mediocre ego feel incredibly tall. He tried to sit on the fence, playing the good guy to both sides, completely forgetting that eventually the fence will just cut you in half. We see this exact dynamic play out in real life every single day, don't we? The childhood friend who has no boundaries, the coworker who always needs just a little too much comforting, and the partner who gaslights you by saying, You're overthinking it. She's like a sister. We fall into the trap of playing the cool, understanding wife. We swallow our discomfort. We manage their messes, and we convince ourselves that being endlessly forgiving is a form of love. But listen to me very carefully. When a man tells you, "I didn't know what to do when she cried," what he is actually saying is that another woman's temporary discomfort is more important to him than your permanent disrespect. How do we avoid waking up in this nightmare? You stop auditing their circus. You stop being the unpaid crisis manager for a man who refuses to draw a line. If he wants to play the savior for every damsel in distress, let him go. Step aside, let gravity do its job, and watch how quickly their little illusion collapses when you stop holding up the tent. Let her have him. A prize won in the mud is still just mud, and your hands are meant for wearing diamonds, not cleaning up dirt. The girl in our story has already taken back everything that was hers. Tell me, sitting in front of this screen, are you ready to rewrite your own script? I am Nova, wishing you sweet dreams tonight and tomorrow. A phoenix, rising from the ashes.